Hey guys, Marissa at KitchenTableStamper.com. Today I have got this sweet greeting card for you. It's kind of a fun one, a little unexpected in that it's got a big hole in the front. Do you see that? Okay, so you open up the outside, which says the best things in life are sweet. And then on the inside are all these little ice creams and popsicles. And it says, and you're one of the sweetest. All right, let's get started with this. The first thing I'm going to do is run you through the supplies that you'll need to create this card at home. I'm using 2 Stampin' Up! Bundles. I found that they were match made in heaven and they belong together. So do remember as you're looking at this with me that when you bundle these products, you save 10% and they do just belong together. They were made for each other. I'm using the Cool Treats bundle, which consists of the Cool Treats stamps and the Frozen Treats framelets. When you bundle those up together, you save 10%. The other bundle that I'm using today is Sweet Cupcake. The sentiments in this set match perfectly with those ice creams and those popsicles, and the dies are fantastic with the Cool Treats bundle also. We're using the sweet die, we're using this little banner up here for our sentiments. We're also using the sentiments from this set. Best things in life are sweet with the die, and you're one of the sweetest. Okay, so again, cupcake, cutouts, and sweet cupcake, when you bundle them together and buy both products at the same time, you save 10%. We're also using our stitched shapes and layering circles for this project. And while I'm running through the stamps and dies, let's talk about ink. Stampin' pads that I used on this project: chocolate chip, pool party, crumb cake, calypso coral, and peekaboo peach. I have these awesome little sprinkles embellishments. These are new in the Occasions catalog along with the Cool Treats bundle. And these little gems, there's sequins and pearls. It's just a beautiful mix for shaker boxes, or in this case, I glued them right to my card as individuals. And look at that effect, that sparkle. Our paper and cardstock consists of a Whisper White card base that's 4 1/4 by 11 and scored at 5 1/2. I also have a piece of, I always call this the wrong name, Tasty Treats Specialty Designer Series paper is what I think this one is called. And that's 4 by 5 1/4. I have a Peekaboo Peach scallop circle, about 2 3/4 square. We'll cut that. And then I have the stitched circle from Stitched Shapes. And this one is about 2 1/2 inches. So, and then I have little scraps of Whisper White for my ice creams. 1 1/2 by 2 3/4 for each of those ice creams will do, or a little bit bigger sheet, maybe a 1/4 of a sheet at the most for the stamping. I have the banner, that's from the cupcake die set, and it measures about 1 by 4 1/4 is what you need to cut out that banner. This is chocolate chip cardstock. I cut the word sweet, and you'll need a piece that's about 1 by 3 1/2 chocolate chip to die cut that sweet. Do you see how delicate that font is? I just love this. Okay, and then more of the Tasty Treats Designer Series paper. This is 1 by 4. All right, let's get started with our die cutting first. I think hopefully I'm gonna teach you a little trick here. I think this is kind of fun. We're gonna die cut our window in the front of the card. So the first thing we wanna do is grab some snail adhesive, and you wanna very carefully apply your snail adhesive only to the very outer edge of your Designer Series paper. Keep it really close to the edge on all 4 sides. And then you're going to center that on your card front. Now, why is it so important that you keep your adhesive to the very outer edge? Because the next thing that you're going to do is with your largest framelits circle, layering circle, you're going to cut a hole in the front of your card. You want to open up the card and lay it flat in the machine and then cut. Now here's why it's so important that you only put that adhesive around the very outer edge of your card. When you remove the die, so now our card has a nice little window in it, and those circles that we cut out of the center, these are still useful for another project. They're not all glued together. They came apart very nice and they're in good shape for another project. So that's what I was hoping I could teach you there. Okay, so our cards come in together nicely. We've got another little piece of designer series paper here. We're going to add some snail to the back of it. We'll put it about I don't know, 3/4 of an inch from the bottom of the card. And we'll do some stamping now. Got my Stampin Pierce Mat here, and with these polymer stamps, it is really nice to use the Stampin Pierce Mat. You get a better impression the first time. I also have a piece of handy dandy foam book because a lot of these images we're going to stamp off before we actually stamp. That's how we're going to get all this wonderful variation of color using just one ink pad, Peekaboo Peach, just Pool Party, and just Calypso Coral. I'm starting with the lighter color because then I can stamp my Calypso Coral without cleaning in between. That's another little tip for you. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and ink up with Peekaboo Peach, stamp off, and then stamp my popsicle. And I've got these little lines here for the center. I'm going to stamp those guys in. Can you see me? I might be almost off the bottom edge, huh? Let me slide up. Okay. And then I've got my popsicle stick. Stamp that, touching the Peekaboo Peach. Lastly, over here I've got this little swoop, and it's going to just make a little dimension shape to our popsicle. So I've inked it with Peekaboo Peach. I'm stamping off, and then I'm stamping over. So there's our little Peekaboo Peach popsicle. We're going to repeat the same thing with Calypso Coral now. Got my Pool Party popsicle. It's kind of a long, skinny one here. Stamp off. And then I've got the little stripes. We're going to ink those up and use those full strength. I did the little swoop there. I inked it, stamped it off, and stamped it on there to make some dimension. There's my popsicle stick. All right, there it is. While we're stamping, let's do the greeting here on the banner. So I have my chocolate chip ink pad here and my outside greeting that says the best things in life are. But what I want to do now is find those little score lines on this banner, because the die itself cuts the banner and scores a couple of little lines there that allow you to fold it up and make a dimensional banner. So you want to fold those so that it's easy to see the size of your banner, and you can then center your greeting more effectively. So work those little score lines. And then once you've got them worked and you've made your little dimensional banner, you can see the space in which you have to stamp there and center your greeting. Makes it much easier. the best things in life are, and I'm going to stamp it just a little bit high of center and then centered right to left. Got a little multi-purpose Tombow adhesive, and I'm going to just put a little dot of it on the top of the S and the top of the T, maybe at the very top of the E here, because we are going to turn the sweet and the banner into one piece. So we're going to work those scores back again, and then take this word and the banner, we're going to center. And there it is. We'll let that dry for a little bit while we do some more assembling. Got a little snail adhesive, and we're going to put it on the back of our Whisper White stitched circle and layer that with the Peekaboo Peach. I'm going to add a couple of dimensionals to the back of the Peekaboo Peach. And set that aside. Let's do our die cutting, shall we? We're going to need this little popsicle and this little popsicle. Okay, I've got my Big Shot here, my magnetic platform, and then a cutting pad. I'm going to put my one little popsicle down and my other little guy. We're going to do two at once. And now you'll see, here's our little popsicle, edge to edge peach. The stick has no white. And when you lift the die, you see that it leaves just a little rim of color. Perfect die cutting every time. All right, I got one more to die cut, and then we'll get back to assembling the card. Okay, so my ice pops are all die cut, and I've got some dimensional adhesive on the back of these guys. Let's get them sticky. And I'm going to put a little bit of snail on the back of the pool party ice pop. Now this Peekaboo Peach medallion that we put together earlier, I'm going to center our pool party, then the Peekaboo Peach one, and Calypso Coral. All set, looking good, right? We've got our sentiment, our little ice pops. Now, we're going to expose the adhesive here, this little medallion inside. Now, inside the card, let's add our sentiment. This says, "And you're one of the sweetest." Got chocolate chip ink. You want to center it right below the medallion, but make sure that it's low enough that when you close the card, you're not going to see it. Bring your attention back to the banner here. I've got a little bit of dimensional adhesive that I'm going to put very far to the extreme right and left of the banner, and that's important. We don't want any adhesive here because it's going to overlap our window a little bit. And I've got some mini glue dots, and I'm going to put a mini glue dot on each of these little tails. And then I've cut a tiny little strip of dimensional adhesive from the edge of the dimensionals. I'm making little squares, little rectangles, because I'm just gonna dot them across the bottom of the word sweet so that we can support this very delicate little die cut. Okay, so now you can see I've got several little dots of dimensional. We're ready to go ahead and adhere this to the front of our card. Okay, so we're going to want to make sure that that banner keeps its fun little dimension, so tuck those score lines back under, and I like to hold on to them. And then you're going to position this centered right to left, and so that it overhangs the opening of the card just a little bit. Press those glue dots and that dimensionals, and the ones behind the little sweet word. There we go. Best things in life are sweet, and you're one of the sweetest. Now, last step, we're going to add these fun little bits of sparkle. I got a little bit of clear, drying liquid adhesive here. I'm going to put a dot on a piece of scratch paper. Then I'm going to put a dot, and a dot where I want some sparkle. I'm going to touch that little dot, or touch that little dot of adhesive, and then I'm going to pick up from the little container. You've got just the tiniest bit of adhesive on the tip of that piercer, and it's making it very easy for me to just pick and choose which sparkle I want from the container. And I've deposited them right in that drop of glue. Okay. Now we've got all of our sequins placed where we want them. Let's see, we've got all that great sparkle. The process was easy and clean when we used our paper piercer. Make sure you clean the tip of your paper piercer well, and you're all set. All right, there they are. The best things in life are sweet. If you've got any questions about this project or about Stampin' Up, email me, Marissa at kitchentablestamper.com. Thanks for watching.